Yep. I hope you guys are hearing me now. Um, Shalom, shalom, shalom to everybody. Shalom to everybody. How are you guys doing this morning? I tell you, Babylon is falling, is falling. Babylon is falling, is falling. Shall become the habitation of many devils. I laugh at no one's calamity. Absolutely laugh at no one's calamity. This morning, we got up and we heard that many of the political giants in the United States of America, okay, I think somebody, let me get this corrected. I think I'll use my other one before this one. I think this one is the teaching glasses. Yes, yes, yes. Right. So this morning, apparently, yes. Let me say good morning to all the people online anyway, in the meantime, before I get into what I have to say. Good morning to Ray Mitchell. Good morning to Monica Williams. Good morning to Slimy, Big Man Slimy, up inside as usual, up inside as usual, up in the club. Hector, top of the morning. Glenda Radix, top of the morning to you. Yeah, so let me see who else. All right, so I guess other people will be on the live. Let me see. Let me just make sure because I don't want to leave out anybody before I start here. Guys, I left a link at the top of the description if you need to get in and you need to speak with me. The link is there because yesterday persons were asking me where is the link. The link is right there at the top of the chat. It's pinned there. Let me say good morning to Kersham Lewis as well. Kersham Lewis as well joining the live. Top of the morning to you. Yesterday, a lot of countries decided that they would not entertain Felice Clark. Top of the morning. Yesterday, a lot of countries decided that they were not going the way of the United States of America. And so many of them decided to vote at the UN and to basically say, look, we need to have a two-state solution. Is that problem in Israel and Gaza or Palestine is not going to end? So many of America's allies decided that they were going to join the rest of the world in saying, we want to recognize a two-state solution. Time to end this garbage. Time to end this crap. This morning, I recognize a lot of politicians in the U.S. are calling the rest of the world, well, they're likening America to the Most High and saying that the world chose Barabbas. That's what they're putting it as this morning. It's never a nice thing to lose. I don't think anybody likes to lose. If there's anybody who likes to lose on this live, you can let me know. But I don't think there's anybody who likes to lose. And this morning, apparently, is the first time, maybe in a long time, that America feels as losing, or like it's losing some battle. Right? It's a hell of a thing. And so today, many of the world leaders are preparing for their 15 minutes of fame at the United Nations. I don't know if your country, wherever you are, whether it be in Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad, they would be attending the United Nations General Assembly, but it gets underway from tomorrow. And so everybody who is somebody apparently who heads a country would have their 15 minutes of fame to talk all their yada, 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 on the world stage. It's going to be a different General Assembly because a lot of people are not towing the American line anymore. So it's going to be a different General Assembly. A lot of words are going to be passed in the wrong. A lot of words are going to be traded. People are going to be angry with each other. That is something that you can expect. I'm not sure if all the Caribbean leaders will be heading to the UN General Assembly. One of the things that you'll be hearing plenty about tomorrow, from tomorrow at least, is what France did in looking at Palestinian state. Canada went against the grain of United States. United Kingdom, one of America's biggest allies, decided that they are not going to vote with the US this time around. So this is going to be very, very different. Very, very different. It feels like the beginning of the end. I think we're in the Matrix right now. And I think that the Matrix, yes, this is we are in the Matrix right now. We're in the Matrix right now. It's not an easy thing, I tell you that. So what happened? Australia, Canada, Portugal, and United Kingdom on Sunday formally recognized the state of Palestine, joining a majority of countries that have already done so in a move to oppose the United States and Israel. So a lot of countries have joined and have decided that they're going to recognize a Palestinian state. Not good for America and their war of aggression and Israel. And so we're living in a different time, a different era, where the world is saying, look, I don't have to follow America's playbook all the time. I don't have to go with the United States all the time. That is what is happening. But I tell you what, the world right now is in what I call a 5 o'clock rush. Yeah. And Babylon is here with its confusion or such. Wars and rumors are at their peak. Woe to the man who's still asleep. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. Woe to the man who is still asleep. I tell you, it's a lot of things that are going to be happening from here on in. And I have some information for you. Just stick around for that. Let's go with what's happening close by. Let me just show you. But listen to this video first, and maybe you can comment on it, and then we'll get back to that discussion.
President Trump will address the UN General Assembly tomorrow while still trying to broker a peace deal to end the war in Gaza. But just before the assembly, the UK, Australia, and Canada have all formally recognized a Palestinian state, defying the White House.
Look at that map. Look at the map. Look at the map right there. Look at the map. Look at the map. You see that map right there? Look at that map. Look at that map. Countries that recognize the Palestinian state or a Palestinian state. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the map. You would have never seen that map maybe 10 years ago. Look at it now. What has changed really? What has really changed? What's going on here? France actually voted this morning, so that should be turning red anytime soon. But what is really happening? Talk to me, people. What is really happening here? What's going on here? Why is it that so many countries have decided that they are not going to vote with the United States anymore? What is really happening here? But let's continue this video. And
delivering a blow to America's strongest Middle East ally. Heritage Foundation Senior Research Fellow Eugene Kontorovich joins me now to break all of this down. Eugene, good morning. It is great to see you. Let's get to the UN General Assembly first. The president is going to be making a speech. The UN, obviously, one of the most progressive bodies there is out there. So what sort of reception do you think the president will receive?
I think the UN is going to be polite and even deferential to the president, because the president understands that the UN is a broken institution running primarily on US dollars that supports every kind of woke idea and fantasy in the world while not giving America its money's worth. So they want to basically pretend that they're going to think about reform, they're going to think about doing better, and try to stonewall for 3 years and hope a different administration will be less critical.
Okay.
But, they think President Trump is stupid. They're going to find out he's not.
Okay, well, now we got to get to Palestinian statehood, because I just said it. Britain, Australia, Canada, and Portugal, by the way, all now saying that they're going to recognize a state of Palestine. What does this actually mean in practice?
In practice, the biggest implication, it doesn't mean there is a Palestinian state. Indeed, when you look at what they say in their recognition, they say, we really think there should be a Palestinian state, so we're going to recognize one so that it can then exist. Now, believing in fairies does not conjure them into being. It doesn't make them real, no more so than believing in a Palestinian state. But what it really does accomplish is blowing up the hostage negotiations that President Trump invested so much of his political capital in. He really started his term from the beginning saying we have to end the war in Gaza, and invested so much time and energy in bringing Hamas to the bargaining table. Now, France and Britain say to Hamas, we got your back. You don't have to negotiate at all. You don't have to release any hostages, and we're going to recognize a Palestinian state, something you've not been able to accomplish in decades. And it teaches separatist groups around the world, and it teaches the Palestinians. If you want to score diplomatic wins, murder, rape, and maim civilians. And of course, it totally blows up President Trump's...
Eugene, to that point, Keir Starmer said this solution is not a reward for Hamas because it means Hamas can have no future, no role in government, no role in security. Well, someone needs to tell Hamas that, because a senior leader in Hamas said Mr. Starmer's announcement is a step in the right direction, even if it came too late. So obviously, statehood, a recognition of Palestinian state, is a reward for October 7th. But these nations don't seem to have squared that circle. Right now, there is the ground offensive taking place in Gaza. So what should the plan be for the region once this war is over?
So I think President Trump has articulated some of the main elements. Hamas needs to be eradicated from Gaza, but you cannot put Gaza under the leadership of the Palestinian Authority, because the Palestinian Authority is what resulted in Hamas in the first place. You need Israeli military security presence, keeping that area secure, and you need to let people leave. Those people are prisoners. Half the people in Gaza have already, before the war, said they want to leave, or close to half. So we need to let those people leave. And now, to counter the damage caused to any potential diplomatic process by the French and British effort, the president needs to fight fire with fire and recognize Israeli sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, where already hundreds of thousands of Jews live.
Understood.
This is the holy land, this is the biblical land, and President Trump needs to say, we're going to do the opposite of what France and the UK are doing.
Just a few scheduling notes for viewers out there. President Trump also expected to meet with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky later this week in New York City on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. There's also going to be a big meeting today on a Russia jet incursion into Estonia. So a lot going on the foreign policy front. Eugene Kontorovich, thank you so much for helping us break it all down. We appreciate you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
Yep. That's what's happening, my friends. That's what's happening. And the world is changing. The world is changing. I don't know how many of you recognize that, but the world is changing. Someone was asking, I saw someone in the live saying that Palestine is not in the Bible. And you're absolutely correct. The word Palestine apparently... No, the word Palestine does not appear in the scrolls. In the Bible term, I'll tell you what happened. That term came into being much later. Greece, Rome, that was what they gave the name of the land, if I could remember. And the biblical name for that piece of land where you're hearing about Palestine today was something called Canaan, or the land of promise. And the Hebrew word was Plishet, transferred as Philistia, basically in some versions, if you look at it. And it basically was looking at that specific piece of coastal inhabitants. And they used to have people called Philistines living there. And I think later on they decided to call it Palestine. That was applied to the whole area by the Roman emperor. I can't remember his name. I think it's Hadrian, to humiliate the folks living there after a while. But Canaan is actually the word for that place that's there today that they call Palestine. Canaan is actually the biblical word. So that is something for the biblical scholars that were on the live. You could share your wealth of knowledge in that area. All right, so let's get closer to home. Yes, let's get closer to home. Things are happening. Let's see what's going on here. So I was just showing you the map that everybody here now has defied the United States of America and have decided to recognize our two-state solution. They want it, and of course, that's where it is right now. That's where it is right now. All right, let's get closer to home. This is the one that I think is causing problems. Um, Venezuelan military moves against arms human traffickers near TNT. What do you guys think about that, though? What do you actually think about that? Hmm? Venezuela military moves against arms human traffickers near TNT. There's been so much problems with this thing for the last couple of weeks since the US decided to move in around this camp, around this side. And so what we have now is Venezuela trying to display a show of force, and they're moved closer to Trinidad. It says the Venezuelan defense minister has announced the launch of Operation, what do you call it? Comandago 200, aimed in part at blocking illegal trade in arms and human trafficking from TNT. So they're saying that there's human trafficking coming over from TNT into Venezuela, and there's drugs coming over and arms coming over. So they're there now to stop that trade. So this means that that could have been done a long time ago. It also means that there were really no need for the United States to be in this region then. I don't know. I'm just asking questions. You can tell me. I left a link in the description, in the chat. I left a link in the chat section. You can click on it if you want to come in and talk to me. It says there's a lot of smuggling of fuel, weapons, ammunition, human trafficking along the axis between, well, let's say Gulf of Paria, I think it is, and Trinidad and Tobago. That's that small region right there. Cumano, the capital city of the Venezuelan state of Sucre, facing the Caribbean Sea, is a launch point for the new operation. Lopez also vowed to clear out any terrorist group or drug trafficking gangs operating illegally in the region. So that is what is happening. JPC says it's a matter of when, not if something will happen between both islands. You don't want that to happen, JPC. You don't want that to happen. Trust me. You don't want something like that to happen. That won't be good. That really won't be good. Trinidad is the main hub for human trafficking in that area. Somebody says shaking my head. So the Venezuelans have moved closer to Trinidad and Tobago. The defense minister highlighted ongoing efforts by security agencies to combat human trafficking, fuel, food smuggling, and drug trafficking syndicates. Slimy is saying that government officials are involved, so this is a direct move that affects the pockets of some politicians in Trinidad and Tobago. That's a serious allegation you're making this time. Someone else says, in the days with the Israelites, they were a nation that came up against God's people, and God decided to get rid of them. All right. So it looks like the Venezuelans are moving closer to Trinidad and Tobago. I was looking for a map right here. Look at that space, that little space between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. Look at that little space right there. Look at that space right there. Huh? Look at that space right there. That's wow. Wow. That's boy. Anyway, JPC says, I don't want anything to happen, but as a Trini, I have accepted any morning I can wake up to a different Trinidad and Tobago. Listen, any morning, you and I can wake up to a different world. We woke up to a different world this morning where we heard that almost every single country in the world, almost I said every single country in the world have decided that they're not going with the US anymore at the UN and vote about that issue with Palestine and Israel. So we woke up to a very different world this morning. As a matter of fact, we woke up to a different world on Saturday morning when we heard about what happened in Europe, where there was a cyber attack. And I'll tell you something about that. These people are really crazy in this world. Anyway, so Lewis says it's less than 2 hours via boat. Less than 2 hours via boat. Less than 2 hours, which means that could be about what, half an hour by plane. That space, if you fly from there to there, about half an hour, 15 minutes. What is it? Yeah. Somebody says divide and rule as usual. That's if that's about 2 hours by boat, it means that it's about half an hour by plane or something. Anyway, it's just annoying we are allowing ourselves to be the Ukraine for America here in the Caribbean. Shaking my head. That's JCP. Listen to me. The Caribbean region have been under the spell of the US for centuries, decades. And sad to say that a lot of leaders in the Caribbean, well, I mean, they're lazy. What do I mean? What do I mean? Very lazy politicians. What do I mean when I say that? The reason why they're under the Americans' um, coattail for so long is because they're lazy. Everyone believes in taxing you to debt. Everyone believes in taxing you to debt and sending out the money to the United States of America to import, whether it's foodstuff, chicken, agriculture, whatever it is. We actually import carrots back into the region. We import it's things that we can grow here in abundance. So what I'm saying is that the politicians are lazy, and that is why we are under the control of these larger countries since conquest and settlement. Even though they gave us so-called independence, we are still under their mighty control. So that is what is happening right now. People are they are starting to watch, pay attention, realize the gravity of the situation. There was a huge joint attack on Israel over the weekend, and the media is not covering it. You have to search hard to find news about it. A huge attack on Israel, you said? I know they blew up something in Yemen again, and they blew up something in Lebanon where some American children were killed. They keep doing whatever they want to do, but I'm not sure about the attack on Israel. Over the weekend, you said? Let me see. Attack on Israel over the weekend. Let me see. Let me see if I find it somewhere. I don't know. I know they were bombing Hezbollah sites. That was reported a couple of days ago, but yeah. I don't think that would be on Western media, though. I would have to probably search some other like DuckGo or some other entity to find that. Yeah, I'm at the point I am leaving everything in God's hand. That's according to JPCP. He will have to remove all the evil. I am tired of the BS. So am I, my friend. So am I. Colin Wellington says things that are happening in the world, especially, are prophesied in the Bible. The U.S. is the beast in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and there is nothing new under the sun. Slimy says, and Venezuela is correct in their fight over the Essequibo region. Guyana chose to develop on disputed lands, and this was an agreement in 1962 not to do. That's some history Slimy is bringing there for us. Val Lane, greetings to you as well. Top of the morning. Val, I was just telling everybody that the world really is in a 5 o'clock rush, and Babylon is here with its confusion and such. Wars and rumors are at their peaks. Woe to the man who's still asleep. If you're actually sleeping, it means that you're not aware as to what is really happening around you. The world is in a conflagration. And yes, correct, very correct, Wellington, you're very correct when you said that all these things were prophesied a long time ago, even though some people discard what was written in the scrolls. They were prophesied a long time ago. What is happening here is that we're actually living in what is called the last crisis on earth. It's going to play out for a while. It's called the last drama in Earth's history. It's going to be playing out for a while. Where you see here nations are being rising against nation, this is actually going to play out for a while. There are going to be a lot of things happening around you. And that is why I say to you guys that when you actually look, you couldn't believe that You actually could not believe that what you're seeing happening down here, right? Um, in Trinidad and Tobago, you actually would not have believed that that would have actually taken place in your lifetime, that the Caribbean would have become such a place where, I say, troublous times. Nobody actually anticipated this. And so I'm going to teach you something right now. There is widespread apprehension about the future. This present time that we're having is a time of overwhelming interest to all of the living. Rulers and statesmen. And of course, statesmen mean people who are, in the business of politics, rulers like kings, presidents, your prime minister, men who occupy positions of trust and authority, thinking men like you and I, and women of all classes, have their attention fixed upon the events taking place about us. A lot of you right now are worried. That's what you call apprehension about the future. A lot of you are very, very worried as to what is happening, and you have a right to. But if you know the prophecies, you're not going to be too worried, right? But actually, I'm saying to you that there is widespread apprehension. A lot of people are worried about what is happening and what is about to take place, and so people have their attention fixed upon the events taking place about us. Now, they are watching the relations that exist among the nations. What kind of relations exist among the nations right now? Right now, among the nations, um, right now, what is happening among the nations is that they're getting angry. Nations are angry. Nations are angry right now. They're very, very angry. And they're against each other. Everybody's jockeying for power. It's almost like somebody's putting them against each other. So Hasatan is doing his job. He's actually doing his job, and he's creating confusion among the nations. The same people that he's placed in power, he's using them and putting them against each other. So you see India warring with the US right now in terms of tariffs. You see China and Russia developing a stance against the West. You see even Canada, that is just not of the US, on the same continent, who used to back every single thing about the United States, now saying, look, we're not in your corner with that foolishness anymore. So nations are angry right now. The nations are very, very angry right now, and they are coming against each other, and you haven't seen anything yet, right? People are observe the intensity, and you're observing the intensity right now that is taking possession of every earthly element. And people are recognizing that something great and decisive is about to take place, and that the world is on the verge of a stupendous crisis. Guys, everybody's recognizing that something great and decisive is about to take place in this world. Aren't you? Those of you on the live right now, aren't you seeing that the events that are taking place around you? Can't you see that the world is actually on the verge of some great thing happening, some stupendous crisis taking place? Something decisive is about to happen among the nations on this earth. Something is about to happen. Something is about to happen. And you and I know that. You actually, from the comments that you're making on the live, it tells me that you know that something is about to happen. And if people don't wake up, if they don't realize that yet, my friends, I don't know when they will realize that. They'll be lost when they wake up. Let me go back to the chat. The chat section says, let me see. I think some guys in the chat section, people are commenting in the chat. I think somebody says, Lord, take the wheel, protect my people in TNT. Wellington says, will be another wars. Paul says, a perilous time shall come. That was wrote about 2,000 years ago. Today we can see perilous times have come. The book of Revelation is being fulfilled. I absolutely agree with you on that one. Michael says, let not your heart be troubled. Listen to me. Listen to me. Let me show you this map again, right? Let me just show you this map one more time. Look at this map, right? These are the countries, right? These are the countries that have decided that they're going to go against the United States and recognize a Palestinian state. right? That's the only how they say that you can get peace down there. That's what they're saying. That's the only how you can get peace down there between Israel and the Palestinians. So they decided to go against the US and recognize the Palestinian state. This is almost the entire world decided to recognize that piece of land and call it Palestinian state. So if you look at what is happening, there wasn't a time when a lot of countries would have gone against the United States. This is the first time in a history really you're seeing almost the entire world, right, going against the United States of America. It simply means that something great and decisive is about to take place. Remember, the United States was born out of freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, freedom of all of that, right? And when the original descendants came from Europe, actually, I'm not talking about the indigenous people in America, I'm talking about those who came over from Europe, who were running from persecution. When they came over the US, it was because they wanted to be free. And so the land was blessed by the Most High. And it was a promised land, basically, like a promised land, freedom of expression, freedom to worship whoever you feel like. But America has gone from that. And so what you see now, she's become like the harlot of the world. You know who's a harlot, right? A harlot is somebody that mingles with every man, a harlot. She's become the harlot of the world. And so a habitation of devils like Babylon. And so now what you notice here is that everybody is actually going against the US. Look at this map carefully. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. It's almost every single country on earth saying, no, we're not voting with you anymore. So what you recognize is that something great and decisive is about to take place, and the world is on the verge of what you call a stupendous crisis. You know what the word stupendous mean? Huh? Do you know what the word stupendous mean? Anybody in the chat, do you know what the word stupendous mean? Anybody at all? Anybody know what stupendous means? Stupendous is extremely impressive. Stupendous, extremely impressive. So there's something about to break on this world that we have never ever actually seen before is going to take place. And I don't know if a lot of people actually realize that. Let me go back into the chat. Let me see. Hypersonic rockets now staged in Venezuela. Let me see. Do you have any links for the China jets to Venezuela? Okay. Somebody says out of common sense. For those who don't know, Palestine and Philistine are one and the same. Yeah. That's the Bible teaches that the world will be deceived. That's correct. Stupidity to the max. Yes, impressive. Yes. Right. So I am here. Listen to me. Something is actually going to break on the world. It's going to be very, very decisive. It's going to be very stupendous, right? There are going to be a lot of calamities by land and sea. If you look at it, that is what is happening right now. There's the unsettled state of society, and the alarms of war are very portentous. Listen to me. The unsettled state of society. This is not only in the United States of America or down in the Middle East, almost every single country on earth, right? Every single country on earth, there is strife in the society. You see that, right? Those of you from Trinidad and Tobago, when you talk about the unsettling state of society, the unsettled state of society, do you see it? In every country in the Caribbean, back in the day, we would have seen some countries with 10 murders, 12 murders, 20, 30, 40. Now they're running into the hundreds, right? They're running into the hundreds. So society has become very, very unsettled. Very, very unsettled. Um, right. So it has become very, very, very unsettled. What is happening in society today? When you look at it, homes are being broken up, families being torn apart more than ever before. Boys want to be girls, girls want to be boys. They're teaching the children not to be the sex that they actually were born with. It's a very unsettled state in society. So we've come to a point where something very, very decisive is going to happen. This year has to actually pull this back, right? And the forecast approaching events of great magnitude is going to be happening. The agencies of evil are combining their forces and they are consolidating. You see what's happening in the world? The agencies of evil are combining their forces and they are consolidating. They're strengthening right now for the last great crisis because great changes are soon to take place in our world. And guess what? The final movements will be very, very rapid ones. The final movements. Let me get back into the chat. Let me get back into the chat. Um, let me see. Let me see what's happening here. Yes, Aaron. The scriptures are very relevant in these times. There will be wars, rumors of wars, but let not your heart be troubled. The end is not yet. This is the beginning of sorrows, great tribulation that the world has never seen. Yep. The Caribbean was the most quieter part of the world, but not now. Yeah, it used to be. It used to be. That's why I said to you that great changes are about to come upon the world, right? Great changes are about to come. Great changes are about to come upon the world. Sam says, Marjorie says, amen, so true. Somebody said prophecy coming alive in the last days. Pray for the United States. God is doing all the things taking place. These bones will rise again. Listen. Is there anybody on the live who wish to join the live? Because I want to speak to somebody about what is happening in their society right now. Somebody from anywhere, any country that is on the live. It doesn't matter if you're from Grenada, if you're from Trinidad, if you're from St. Lucia. Once you're on the live, click on the link that I placed in the chat. It's at the top of the chat. Click on it and join the live so that I can have a word with you. All right. Let's get back to what is happening here. Right. So let's get back to what is taking place here. Now, the time of trouble, which is to increase until the end, is very near at hand. And I believe that most of us, we have no time to lose. If you look at it right now, you can see that the world is stirred with the spirit of war. Can't you see it? Right now, the world is stirred with the spirit of war. Israel says that there will be no such thing called Palestine. They said that they will bomb the hell out of Gaza. They will flatten it to remove those people. The spirit of war is fermenting. The world right now is stirred with the spirit of war. So you can see people like Russia and China salivating for a war with the U.S. You can see the U.S. down here in the Caribbean. We never used to have all that kind of thing going on. The world is stirred with war right now. All over the world is stirred with war. So you know that something is about to happen, right? The prophecies of 11th of Daniel have almost reached their fulfillment. Anybody ever went to the book of Daniel, the scrolls there? The prophecies of the 11th of Daniel, they have almost reached their fulfillment. Final fulfillment. Yeah. The time of trouble. Trouble such as was not since there was a nation called the United States of America is right upon us. And many of us are still like sleeping virgins. You remember that parable with the virgins? Many of us are still like sleeping virgins right now. But nobody can dismiss that there was never a time. Like, no. War is stirred with the spirit of war. Just war. Everywhere you turn, it's just war. It's just war, and more war. Every morning you wake up. That's all you're hearing now these days. Somebody wants to out somebody's light. Somebody wants to unalive a group of people in one country. Somebody wants to. It's just war and war and war and war. You know what I'm saying? Let me go back in the chat and see what my friends are saying inside here. Let's see what's happening inside the chat here. All right. Unseen forces are just waiting for US to make the wrong move. I think somebody was trying to call me. Let me see. What's happening inside here? Well, things got to get bad before it get good. So yeah. Trinidad and Tobago will live and not die. They will see the goodness of the Lord in their land. Yeah, America is the lamb like bee. She spoke as a lamb, but now the dragon attitude. But they will they will bow to her and carry out the laws and destroy all who doesn't worship her. Okay. Um, yeah. Should also be reading the Wall Scrolls. Fully awake. Yeah, Monica. Valane says we have to be on guard, watching, waiting, praying. You're correct, my brother. Let me see. I think somebody was trying to call me. Hold on, let me see if I missed the calls. Yeah, I think I missed a couple calls. All right, guys. Yeah. So yeah, guys. So like I was saying, something actually big is going to take place. Yeah, let me go back and continue because we have a little bit more time. I think we have about probably 10 minutes to go. So the time of trouble such as was not since there was a nation called US. A lot of us are like sleeping virgins, I said. We are to awake and ask the Most High to place underneath us his everlasting arms and carry us through the time of trial before us. Listen, the world is becoming more and more lawless. Just look at your community. Look around at your community. Look at the villages you live in. Don't you see just lawlessness? Don't you see them becoming more lawless? Like just really, really lawless? Yeah. More and more lawless. Every day you live, the world is becoming more lawless. And what we will see soon is the great trouble will arise among the nations. Trouble that will not cease until the Most High decide to step in. So I will say to you again, we are on the verge of the time of trouble, and the perplexities that are before us. I don't think any of us ever actually dreamed of living in a time when we see such perplexities happening before us. So we are standing actually on the threshold of the crisis of the ages. On the ages. That's right. We're standing on the threshold of the crisis of the ages. That's where we are. And I know a lot of people don't like these things, but it is what it is. And I have to let you know, because if I know, I'm letting you know to get yourself in order. Yes, Mr. Wellington. The people have the power to make that change. Yeah. Then you need the watered down story of the flood in the Bible. Slimy, yeah, one day you will have to wake up and realize what is happening around you were already foretold. All right? Don't worry yourself too much. As it was in the days of Noah, nothing going to get better. The people waxing worse and worse. Roman Empire, yeah. Read what the World Economic Forum plans. You will have an idea how to move. Well, the World Economic Forum can plan all they want. They don't have the final say on anything down here. They never created the universe. They don't have the final say on what will take place here. They can plan everything. You could plan tomorrow that you're going to drive from, like for instance, I say, get up. I leave from, if I am in New York, I leave from Brooklyn. I go upstate New York. I'm in St. Vincent. I say I'm leaving from Georgetown. I go to Kingston. I can plan that, but it doesn't mean it will happen because I don't have control over anything. I don't have control over nothing. If I don't wake in the morning, then my trip to upstate New York is dead and dusted. So the World Economic Forum can plan all they want. They have control over nothing. But it's good to know what they're planning. And I agree with you. It's very, very good to know what they're planning. You must know what the enemy is planning. You have to know. If you don't know, you'll be lost. So I agree with you on that one. But they really don't have control over anything, really. When you really look at it, you can see that the spirit of the Most High is being withdrawn from this earth. You can actually feel it. All right, that's the stuff to read, not right. All right, so let's see what's happening. Praise, yeah, okay. So guys, you know, yeah, we live in a failed society. Yeah, it's actually a failed society. It's actually a failed society. A lot of the countries, become a failed society. Very, 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 very bad. I don't want anybody to be scared of anything. I want to go to this story right now. Did you guys see this thing out of Barbados? There's monkeypox they're seeing in Barbados. I don't know if you heard about it. They said that there's monkeypox in Barbados. Anybody saw that? They said they had some cases of monkeypox, and apparently that the people are well. This is when I know things. This is when I know people are always lying to us, right? Listen to this. Three confirmed cases of monkeypox, formerly called mpox, formerly called monkeypox disease, have been identified in 3 adults since August 2025, according to the Ministry of Health in Barbados. Right? That's according to the Ministry of Health in Barbados. The affected individuals, 1 female, 2 males, bring the total number of mpox cases identified in Barbados to 6 since 2022. The ministry said 3 have no apparent travel history. However, they are known to have been in contact with each other. The cases were able to isolate at home, and contact traces and continue. Actually, there was one article that says they are healed. I've never heard that word, healed, from a government agency before. That's a very, very strange word, that they are healed. I've never heard that say before from any government agency when people get some kind of sickness. I've heard they saying that they're getting over it, they're recovering. But when I heard that word healed, I knew that's a lie right there. Yeah, somebody's lying to you right there. When I heard that word, I knew that there was lying. The line. These little demonics don't use that word. So it's interesting to note that the 3 individuals who apparently they said have no travel history, who have mpox, was in contact with each other, but they have no apparent travel history. So they have no apparent travel history, but they actually have mpox. All of them have mpox. Every one of them. That's what they're saying in Barbados. The people, yeah, no history. The cases were able to be isolated at home. That's what they said. I don't know. These people are something else. But anyway, Chris Jack is on the line. Let's see if we could bring in Chris Jack, and let's see if we could get a talk with him. Chris Jack, top of the morning to you. You gotta give me your audio, Chris. You're not giving me your audio. Chris, you need to sign out and sign back in with your audio. You're not giving me any audio. There's no audio coming from you. All right? No audio coming from you, Chris. Absolutely no audio coming from you. So sign out, sign back in. No audio coming from you, Chris. Need to get the audio. All right. So Chris will have to get the audio before we can have him on the live. Right. That is when I know something was not right, when they said that the person is healed. I've never heard anybody in government said anything about anybody being healed. All right. Let me see if I could get Chris back in the live now. Yes. Good morning. All right. So Chris is gone. I think Chris has to come back in. Right. Let's go. Modify mosquitoes, mpox, pestilences. Let me see. Let me see. Anderson says we must speak what we want to see declared. God, okay. Shaman says yes. Please read the Book of Enoch Bible, folks. Boy, okay, good. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, guys, like I said, if you need to get in on the program before we wrap up, the link is at the top of the comment section. Just go right there and actually click on the link, follow the instructions, and you'll be able to come right in on the live with me. This is what is coming out of Barbados this morning. That they had 3 cases. They said that everybody is good now, not a problem anymore. Everybody's good, and they've been healed. That word "heal" is a strange word coming from health officials in Barbados. I've never heard that before. I've actually never actually heard that coming from anybody in government. That's a very, very strange word that they use in there. That's when I know that they're lying. Um, the ministry said that they had no travel and they are now isolated at home and they're doing the contact tracing. I noticed for the last couple of weeks and days that a lot of people have been wearing masks. So I know that things are happening again. Yeah, they're wearing masks. A lot of people in supermarkets, at clinics, in different countries. I've gotten the pictures. I've gotten information from people. So things are happening around the Caribbean. I just want you to prepare yourself for what is about to strike. Now, this weekend gone, there was an outage in Europe. They said this morning it was ransomware. Actually, they were saying that it was a cyber attack on Saturday. They were saying it was a cyber attack. And so the airports in the Europe and in the UK actually were down. The information I am getting, and this is very, very important. You need to share the live. You need to share the live. You need to share the live. Share it so that others can come on because this is very, very important. This is very, very important. Very important. The information I'm getting is that yes, there was a cyber attack. Yes, the airports were down in terms of people being able to book and flights taken out because, people can't do their business with the counter. I understand that either this week or next week, and this really doesn't have to happen because sometimes when plans get revealed before time, they're pushed back. I understand that either this week or next week, going in early October, I understand that there could be a large-scale cyber attack on banks around the world and on the internet system itself. And I understand that they're looking at a weekend. So it could be this weekend or next weekend, or it may not happen because once these things come to fruition and they come to the public's attention, they don't do them at the same time anymore. So what I'm hearing is that there could be, based on the information coming out of the great United States, the cyber people, the people who know the information from the intelligence, that there could be a large-scale cyber attack on banks and the internet this weekend. So you could see large-scale outages around the world, actually, right around the world. So if you have no other means of communication other than the internet, some people communicate via WhatsApp, some people use Signal, some people use Facebook, some people use different things. That will not be able to be, used. You won't be able to use it based on the information. Large-scale outages of the internet around the world and on banks, as in ATM machines and stuff like that, banking systems could be down. That's the information that's coming out from the intelligence circles. Like I said, the attack may not happen because sometimes when you describe these things early, and I'm not the only one talking about it, it actually, if sometimes when you talk about these things, they don't go off because they don't pop off because the people said, no, well, everybody's prepared, so why are we going to do it now? But this is why I've been always saying to you that you need to get different methods of communication. Um, if something happens, you need to have a different method of communication. You can't just what do I say, depend on the cell phones all the time. You have to have another means of communication. If you don't have another means of communication, you will be lost there. Can't communicate with your family, you can't talk to them. I have always been prepared in that regard because I do have different methods of communication which I use. And so this is a very serious thing. And like I said, it could happen this weekend, this weekend or next weekend. That is the information coming out of the intelligence community. A lot of distractions are happening. A lot of distractions are happening. Yeah. Yeah, I understand other people are talking of. I understand other people say that they've been having visions about what is expected to happen, but this one is not. This is not. No one is gonna convince me. What is Cornelius saying there? I think he said something very important. Where is that? Where is that? I'm trying to get that. I can't find it. Where is it? Yeah, no one's gonna convince me digital wallet is safe. Well, digital wallets are not safe. They're actually not safe. They're not safe. They're not safe at all. Right. So, guys, this is what, like I said, this is the information that is coming out this weekend or maybe next weekend. There could be a possibly a large scale cyber attack around the world and also on the banking system and on the internet, where you'll not be able to have internet service like you have it now. Like we're speaking here, we're using the internet. We're using the internet protocols to transmit via this here. So it may not happen. It may not happen. Yeah, I have the SPARS pandemic and total package. Actually, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that in a couple other live, maybe this week as well. I have that as well. I spoke about stuff from that already, where they were going to talk about the digital vaccine, where you don't have to go and get vaccinated by a needle. Once somebody have it, you can get it too. Um, Chris Jack says, I cannot get the audio to unmute. These things are the plans to put. Oh, you can't get the audio to unmute. Call me via WhatsApp, Chris. Call me via WhatsApp. Call the number that's on the screen there. Call me via WhatsApp. 1-784-533-9260. Call me via WhatsApp, Chris. Let me take your call quickly. Call me via WhatsApp right now, and I'll take your call, and then we run it up. All right? Call me via WhatsApp, Chris. Call me now. That number you see on the screen there. Call me now and let me speak with you. Right. All right. Read the book or listen to or the story of the origin of destiny by okay. Yeah, Huawei or Huawei phone, whatever they're called, are very, very good. They miss a lot of attacks most of the time. Those Samsung and phones are very, very weak when it comes to cyber attacks. Let me see. Yes, Chris, call me now before I close off the program. The number is on the screen there. Call me via WhatsApp if you want to get in, and I will take your call. All right, Chris, I don't have much time. If you need to get in now, call me now. Call me now. All right. If you're not calling now, I can't waste time because a lot of people have other things to do during the day as well. All right, guys. So thanks a lot for viewing the program today. We have to pack it up right now. Thanks for coming on. I know a lot of you wish we could stay here all morning, but we can't because many of you have jobs to go and attend to as well. I come on here because a lot of people ask me to inform them of many things that they don't get on mainstream media. I have a lot of other businesses that I have to take care of throughout the day, and that is why sometimes you don't see me. I have business that I have to take care of as well. I can't depend on YouTube for a living. YouTube is not a living, really. It's a labor for love, right? It's a labor for love, really. It's you come to educate people. If you depend on YouTube for a living, these so-called people who who own these platforms will make you bleed to get money. I don't intend to do that. Yeah, so this is what it is. You can share this video. You can go back and you can watch the live. I think we had a very interesting discussion this morning. And if we have time so to do tomorrow, we'll actually come back and do another one. But yes, you can share the live. Let people subscribe to the channel. Share the message around. Get the word out so that we can have more people in the classroom on a daily basis. All right, guys. So thanks a lot. And see you tomorrow. God's willing. Shalom.